wife is a singer. She should be doing this. All right, everybody hear me? Good? You raise it? All right, I'll just speak really close to it. Yeah. Well, good evening and welcome to the Northwest Cape Coral Neighborhood Association member meeting. This is actually the February one, so sorry about that. But it is March and we kind of missed the February, but here we are. So before we get started, we want to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, as we always do.
We appreciate that.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Right on.
All right, so tonight the agenda is we have a couple updates on our committees and a couple new members, a new sponsor to announce. And then we'll have John Smart come up and our development committee, probably the most popular guy at times right now in the Northwest. And then we're going to have Annette Warren come up and talk about the Queen of the Cape event that we always do here in the Northwest. Our special guest that we have in the back, we have Mayor Gunter in the back, will be coming up in a little bit. Melissa Mickey from the Communications Manager from the city is going to come up and tell you a little bit about her role. Joe Kilrain, Councilmember Joe Kilrain's in the back as well. And I'd like to thank them all for coming out tonight and supporting the Northwest. I also want to recognize and thank the members of law enforcement for everything you do in keeping us safe. Appreciate that. That's me. All right, updates on the committees. So we've established a new membership committee, and I don't know if you remember a while back we had one that kind of faded away. You know, one of my visions with the organization was, hopefully you see we bring a lot of value to you through bulletins and things like that in these meetings. So I want to expose more people to it and grow the membership. That was one of the things that when I became president, that was one of my visions, to keep growing our membership. We have a lot more people moving in, and so if you have a neighbor that's not a member, you know, let them know it's $15 for life. Skip that one drink and join the NWNA. We have a lot to offer. So I appreciate that. James Fink, thank you. Where are you at, James? All the way in the back, manning the table. Joan, is Joan here? Gil, where's Gil? Gil's in the back as well, Mandy. Kathy Franklin, Ray Muley right there, Lisa King is back there somewhere, and Marietta Johnson. So thank you for volunteering your time. We're always looking for volunteers. And our Waterways Committee, that's going to be a new change. So Dwayne, he goes back and forth to Wisconsin, and he said he just can't continue to keep up with everything that's going on here by all the times that he's going back and forth. So welcome, Kelly. Kelly is also the president of the North Cape Voters Alliance, so it makes pretty good sense for our organizations to come together. And Mayor, the cut's going to be a topic, I think. I'm just going to forewarn you. So we're all looking forward to continuing that discussion of how we can get another exit out of the North Spreader.
Yeah. Yes, please.
So at the beginning of the year, we asked you to do a survey and thank everybody for participating. This is what we use to kind of guide us as an organization, the priorities and what we should focus on. It's also what I share over with the council and the mayor. In fact, the mayor and I met several weeks back to talk about this and what's most important to you, and we share it, and I share it with the council members, I shared it with Joe and some others as well, and we'll continue to do that to guide us. You tell us what you want us to focus on, and that's what we'll do. So I wanted to share the results. There it is. The number one concern is the North Coast. I I was just teasing you. Listen, I was just teasing you. UEP3. So I do have a big announcement. I know this is going to be shocking. There's no charge for UEP3. Sorry about that. The Burt Store Road, 5.7 miles, and I'll share with you some work that's being done on that. I'm not going to call it the 2-lane area of death anymore, but well, it's a tough area. It's a very dangerous area, and I'll share some things that I've been working on with the commissioners all the way up through Byron Donald's office to get that taken care of. 7 Islands is pretty much on its way, and then beautification. So your second top concern was 7 Islands, and we'll have some more updates about what's going on. They're in the permitting process right now, so it's going to take a little bit, but we'll share more in the future. I'm going to actually, well, I'll let you at the end. Again, the road and the spreader. Beautification. If you haven't seen Embers Parkway, has anyone down through Embers Parkway? Isn't it amazing? Yeah, it's amazing. When UEP3 gets going, that's just going to be a preview of some of the things that are going to happen in the Northwest when we redo the roads and do the beautification associated with that. So it's going to be unbelievable to live in the Northwest. You're in a good spot. And then we ask you who you want to hear from. So the city manager, 7 Islands, the mayor, so we've asked the mayor, and I thank him for coming. So I share this with him. Hey, listen, I'll try to get DeSantis. I'll try. We'll hold me to it. Byron's running for office, so we might stand a better chance with Byron. DeSantis is not running, so we'd love to get the chief of police here. It's amazing what our police department does, and I've heard the mayor speak on several occasions, or the chief of police speak on several occasions, and it's amazing the work that's being done to keep us safe and keep Cape Coral an incredibly safe city. So I'd love to have him come in. Parks director, Coral Grove, Super Walmart. We'll try to get these guys in. It's tough with just so many meetings per year to get everybody in to talk to you, but we'll do what we can. And then the social that we have every November, we had about 11%, I think, that responded that they made it to the social. But these are the most important part. This is, again, you telling us what you want from us. And so we're going to take a look at redoing that social. It wasn't the best at the West End. It probably could have been better. There was some hiccups there. So we'll figure out a different way to do that. I want to get it in the Northwest as well. And I was out this week exploring properties to do that so we don't have to go down. No offense to the Southwest, but we'll go on it up here in the Northwest, okay? What's easier? So we'll work on that. We'll work on something for maybe a social in the summertime, good picnic. And one of the things I was thinking, and we'll see how it goes, is maybe a meet the candidates type social picnic, where you get a chance to meet some of the political people or some of the folks that are running for office and get to know them, ask them questions personally. So we'll see how that works out. We'll let you know. So the Burt Store Road 2-lane section is I haven't seen her if Dr. Mary Ellen Kiss is here and Jermaine Hyatt. I work with we had a joint meeting, the Burt Store Road Corridor Coalition, which is essentially Charlotte County. It's 18 HOAs that they bring together as a coalition and really tackle different issues impacting them. They invite me to their meetings, and I join their meetings all the time to represent our area, Northwest, and of course, the Lee County side. And we had a lot of meetings about the discussions about this, more than you can imagine. Both of our organizations sent a letter to Kevin Ruane at his request, asking for appropriations to expand the road from 2 lane to 4 lane. That's been funneled up to Byron Donald's office as he's working right now. Appropriations are starting in April, May, so the time is right now to try to get some cash right down this way. So we were at both organizations. We were at the MPO meeting recently, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, and thank you to the Burt Store Road Corridor Coalition who got up and spoke on our behalf to really make a pitch to the commissioners on both sides, Charlotte and Lee County, that we have to do something about this road as fast as possible. When I sent my letter up, the one thing I cited was that, this is be crazy if you think about it, over the next 5 to 10 years, between Notre Dame Road in Charlotte County to Pine Island Road, there'll be about 67,000 new single-family units that will come up. Right? Think about the traffic that's going to occur funneling into that 2-lane section, right? That's going to be made. They all come down here to shop. there's no commercial going in that area at all, right? So they have to come down this way or go to Punta Gorda. So I put that all in my letter. I was pretty adamant, and I talked about the fact that there's a fatal accident during a hurricane evacuation, you're probably not going that way for a couple hours. Because we've seen how they have to block off the road to do the accident investigation for several hours. So hopefully we'll be able to move much faster than 10 years from now to get that road done, because in 10 years it'll be antiquated. So we're working on it. And again, I think you may have seen the commissioners announced that they're going to put the rumble strips in, as well as the berm, and that's allow law enforcement to be safer, to be able, if they do pull people over in that section for speeding, that they can get off the road and get out of the way. I argued for 6 feet. I lost on that one, but we'll take the 4 feet and the rumble strips. The only thing about the rumble strips, just be careful. I did hear this from a retired police officer. You sometimes overcorrect when you hit rumble strips, and you'll go into the middle of the road. So don't overcorrect. That's my tip when you get there. That's my traffic safety tip. And then, again, we remain focused. This is a big focus area for us and myself to keep doing this and keep pressing on to get this road built much faster than what, 2035 or 2036. Whoops. Boy, this is sensitive. There's a Burnt Store Road resurfacing project going, so I want to, again, give you a little traffic tip. They're going to be milling down Burnt Store Road and going down to the base, putting a new base down, resurfacing it. I think it's from where's the Burnt Store between Southwest Fort Terrace, which is down by the boat ramp, and then up to Gator Slough. So it's going to be quite a stretch, both lanes. Yeah. So it's going to, April 16th is the closest they can start this. They just haven't heard from the contractor yet on this one as the start date. We'll let you know, because you're going to want to be very cautious and maybe take a couple of different jogs to avoid that for a little bit. Thank goodness they're sort of doing it after season to maybe get a little less traffic out there. It's going to take about 4 months. At this time, it's, you know, our military and our veterans, it's time to show them respect for everything they're doing, especially right now and what's going on overseas. And we're working with the American Legion on a survey. It should have gone out to everybody. Please complete the survey. They're debating on whether they want to put an American Legion in the Northwest. And I would welcome a Legion in the Northwest, and maybe, I don't know if they're working with the city on any property or anything like that, but they wanted us to send out the survey and get your opinion if this is something, and I think it's well worth it to support our military. And the other thing I want to share is the 250 for 250. That's happening this coming Saturday. The Lieutenant Governor will be there, and that's honoring 250 veterans out there, and a ceremony at Fort Myers, South Fort Myers High School. So if you're in the area, you get a chance to stop in. But I wanted to put more out about what the military thinks to honor our veterans and our active military. Next Saturday, the 28th. Oh, I get my dates mixed up. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm getting old. Quick update on the parks. Serenity Vista got a new sidewalk and observation area. You can walk out now and watch the boat speed by. So it's pretty cool. It's actually pretty nice what they did. The city did an awesome job doing that, and they're putting down the sod right now and everything. It's going to be pretty spectacular. We were just at the ribbon cutting for the new playground at Joe Stone's, which is an amazing playground. And Annette, thank you. Annette told me when we were there that actually the Parks Department has kids come in and play a role in designing what the playgrounds look like. And I thought that was pretty amazing. Thank you, Annette, for sharing that. Festival Park is 87% complete. It looks pretty good. I think they have all the multi-purpose fields in there and the lighting and everything. It's going to be amazing when that's done. And then Tropicana Park, 66% complete. And they're working on the roundabout. If you've been down that way, see all the pink flags. That's for the new roundabouts at Kismet and Tropicana. They're designing that, getting ready for UEP3. Then it won't be free, but getting ready for it. And then the rowing club, the city's working right now with the rowing club on a license agreement, and we'll see how that works out long term overall, whether that comes out as we want. So a couple of updates to the website. So you know, we are starting a section on we call it political awareness, but it's an opportunity. We're going to connect to all the candidates' websites so that you can be informed, and you can go out and look them up and look what they stand for, and pose questions to them through their website and interact. So that way you have a one-stop shop through the nwcape.com website to go out there and kind of connect with the candidates on your own. So that's work in progress, and we're going to continue to build that out over the next month or so. And then on the resources side, we enhanced the member resources, divided it out now that there's a homeowner section. There's a fire safety section. There's a section there, our fire department, I meant to get down and get one, but you saw, you can go down to the fire station and get cards or stickers to put on your window and say if somebody in your house has Alzheimer's or autism, and so if the fire department comes or the police department comes, they know who they're interacting with when they get there. What an awesome thing for this city. And so the link to that is on there as well. I mean, it's just amazing. So appreciate what the fire department's doing. Community safety, there's a lot on there about what the police department's doing and the awards that they've won over the years, and we should recognize that for the efforts that they're doing. And then emergency preparedness. Hopefully we don't have to do a lot of that right now in the next 2 years. And then the contact area. So we are planning, it's locked in, May 5th is our next member meeting. Here. I know, Mary, what did we say? We're gonna give out?
Margaritas.
I don't think the library will have a pass. But it will be a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, it would.
And the UEP's free.
And the UEP will be free.
Yeah.
So it'll be really free at the end of that meeting. So I hope I have some of the guests that you asked for, including the city manager, but I really want to try to get the folks from the big three, and the big three being Coral Grove, Seven Islands, and Hudson Creek, to come in and give you an update on what they're doing, their progress, and what it means to us in the Northwest. Because those three big developments, about $3 billion or more in total economic value to the Northwest is amazing, right? And we're all going to be impacted by that, and hopefully that road's done by then. And then in September, we'll have another general meeting, and then November, we'll do our social event, and again, there might be something in between, so we'll keep you posted. So with that, we're going to do 2 committee reports before I bring up Alyssa and then the mayor. So John?
Oh, okay. I got it.
You got it?
Okay, you got it.
My moment of glory. Okay, so before I start, I just want to say from the Economic Development Office, and I think we might have talked about this before, but can you hear me?
Put your mouth on the mic. Yeah. Or take it off and hold it. No?
Might get carried away. I don't know.
Neil Diamond, here we go.
Okay, so it's from the Economic Development Office, and we talked about this, I think, but nearly 75% of Cape Coral's forecasted growth through between now and 2040 is going to occur north of Pine Island Road. So keep that in mind. Keep it in mind. And the last couple of weeks, there's been a slew of convenience stores north of Pine Island Road between El Dorado and Santa Barbara, I think 4 or 5. And it just tells you, developers only build when there's a market, so it tells you how much we've grown in the Northwest, and they're going to take advantage, and they're going to put in these convenience store / gas stations. It's one of the reasons is because you have this too, Hudson Creek, which is going to be 3,500 residences, 2,500 homes, 1,000 apartments or townhomes. And the thing about that is they've already started clearing the land. They are just going crazy out there. The picture that looks like Arizona, that's actually Chiquita looking east. And I could swear I saw the Everglades out there. But it only goes to Nelson, right? So it's Chiquita to Nelson. And you can see how it goes on the map there, kind of zigzags. But 1,700 acres, and it goes all the way up from like Burnstore to Nelson, Wilmington Parkway up to Calusa. Utilities are going in at the developer's expense, and we'll have more on that later in an article or something. And then they're gonna bring commercial to Burnt Store Road, which is a nice part, which would be retail and restaurants, maybe a university, maybe a senior citizen center or care center. We'll see. There's a lot of things in the plans. The old plans, we'll see how they carry over. But the ones doing the land work, that's 4-Star Development, their subsidiary of D.R. Horton. And they've got 200 projects going on throughout the country right now. And this is one of them. So time is money, I suppose, and they're working really fast. Okay. I feel like Gong Show hook just over my head. Okay, so projects to keep an eye on, okay? Change in the Island Pearl plans. That's the one on Burnt Store and Pine Island Road. It was like kind of like a strip mall with the Dunkin' Donuts. Nothing's really happened with it. Now they're looking at putting a hotel and fast food restaurants out front. So we'll see how that goes, right? So it's just in the planning stages. We'll see what happens with that. The company that does that is busy with Victory Park over by the VA off of Diplomat, where they're building a huge development of apartments and hotels and medical offices and medical retail stores. And then we have the Walmart Super Center, still in permitting. Hopefully they break ground this year, but we'll see. The corner of Chiquita and Pine Island is now called West Place Marketplace, and their plans are for a Chick-fil-A, a convenience store, and a 7 Brew drive-through coffee. And they've always changed plans. It seems like every 6 months there's a new plan, but this one looks like they want to do some infrastructure work, so maybe this will take place and happen. Be nice to have something there. Chick-fil-A's okay. And then if you drive down Veterans and you go past Lowe's and you see all that construction, that's for a medical center, Lee Health Medical Center. It'll be services like oncology and cardiology, lab services, and I believe ambulatory surgery. So that's good. Oh, and then construction on Southwest Pine Island Road. We've got on Pine Island Road, there's this Cube Smart, which is got a red roof on it, and on the east side is a huge construction site. And this is before you get to the electrical station and Barbara's and all that. So this big construction site is Bloomsbury Apartments, 200 apartments. They've already got the building in the back, starting to build that. Probably a third of it's built. And that'll be 200 apartments. It was 312, but they brought it down because there's restrictions on apartments in Pine Island now, Pine Island Road. And then there'll be two areas out front for retail and restaurants, so we'll see what happens there. But apartments, commercial out front. And then on the west side of that is they're going to build a coffee producing facility for Bones Coffee. I don't know if you ever heard of it. I never did till I went up before council. Really interesting, all kinds of flavors like banana split and strawberry cheesecake. They change all the time. And so it's a small facility now in Santa Barbara. They got a contract with the Star Wars TV series where they have promotional things back and forth. So that's brought them some identity, got them some notoriety. They're in chain grocery stores out on the West Coast. So, and they're on Amazon. So now the business is picking up. They need to expand. They want to stay in Cape Coral. So this plot of land on the west side of that red Cube Smart is going to be their new facility. A warehouse, offices, things. And you can always go to Santa Barbara if you want to check out the coffee. You can always buy some coffee there and see if you like it. So, interesting, different. And then the area in front of the Springs apartment, you have McDonald's next to Publix there. They finally broke ground there. for a snappy car wash. And then next to that, a Wendy's, even though I think they're closing Wendy's across the country, but it's a great location, so hopefully they build it and it prospers. And then I think there's another plot there that they might want to sell, so we'll see. Okay. Oh, and then don't hesitate.
Is that your foot back here?
Okay, so city council, they've been trying, the city has been trying to sell these two city properties. One is called Academic Village on Kismet and Del Prado, 180 acres. The other one used to be called Burn Store 300, probably still is, and it's 318 acres north of Kismet, west of Burn Store. And so now they're going to hire consultants to do basically what happened with the Seven Islands 10 years ago, where they had the charrettes, the designers and the developer or consultants would have the island plotted out, and then people would come in and give their ideas, right? And so that's how you got the 5 plans for the Seven Islands, so or 5 concepts. So they're going to do that with these 2 plots here, these 2 parcels. More information coming up, I'm sure, but we're just asking that you think about it, especially the one in our area, the 318 acres. What would you like to see? Something commercial or recreational? Just think, we got 2,000 members from all over the country, so there must have been something back home that you would like to see here, or you just, can come up with something off the top of your head. But, hopefully you come up with a game changer. But the more people participate, the better the result is. So we'll keep you posted when the time comes to show up and participate. Together we're better.
Waffle House. Need a Waffle House. Uh-oh, I gotta go.
That's it, thank you.
Clicker.
I've never used one of these before, so you guys bear with me. It's a button, so hopefully I can handle that. My name's Annette Warren. I am the beautification committee for the Northwest Neighborhood Association.
Woo!
Thank you. Okay, so we actually have a Cape Coral cleanup thing going on. I'm doing this on my thing here and up there. Okay, so the Clean Up the Cape event, originally we wanted to do it alongside the city, at the same day as the city, but they're having it on a Wednesday, and that's when Earth Day is. So I'm going to give you information about Cape Coral's Clean Up the Cape Day, and then, but first I'm going to give you information about our Cape Coral Clean Up the Cape Day, because it's going to be on a Saturday. Who can participate? Everyone can participate. This is going in and out, isn't it? Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, sorry. Everyone can participate. We're picking up trash around Northwest Cape and the surrounding canals. So if you have a boat and you feel like you want to go out and pick up trash in the canals, you can do that as well. We're all going to meet at Serena Vista Park on Cetus Parkway and up the road here. And then it's going to be on Saturday, April 25th, 2026. At 8:30 in the morning. That's when we're all meeting. And we will have, okay, so, gosh, I should have had you do the clicker.
I got you.
Okay, here, you do the clicker. She told me to throw it at her, but I'm nicer than that. Okay, so how this is gonna work. What we're gonna do is we are going to have a link on our website where you can go ahead and register if you choose to do the Northwest cleanup event. Go on, register there. We will also have registration available at the event as well. We like to do that because we like to hand that information into the city, and then the city can come back and use that for whatever information they need it for. And Melissa Mickey is here, so she'll be able to tell you a little bit more about why they need information like that. And we're gonna meet at Serena Vista Park, like I said, at 8:30 a.m. You can pick up supplies. Keep Lee County Beautiful will be supplying trash bags, gloves, everything you need to pick up trash. And then you can go out, you can stay around Serena Vista Park. Am I pronouncing that right? Serena Vista Park. Serena Vista Park. And just, you're gonna pick up trash and bring up your bags back to the park, and we're gonna have a dumpster there that's being donated by Waste Pro. So, and then we're gonna have some free pizza out for everybody. So just to celebrate our great work that we did. So that's what we're gonna do for that day. Is there any questions? No? I think we got that. That's pretty simple. Okay, so if you do want to participate in Earth Day on April 22nd for the city's Earth Day event, what you can do is they have a 311 app. Show of hands, how many people have this 311 app? Oh, about a quarter of you. You guys, this 311 app is very important. You should have it. You can report if there's a pothole. You can do all kinds of reports to the city, and it'll go to code, and they will let you know. So just look up Cape Coral 311, and I wish I had a picture of it up there for you, but it's a really great app to have if you ever want to communicate with the city or know what's going on. They also give live updates during emergencies, things of that nature. So important app to have on your phone. So download the 311 app, and you can register through the city on the 311 app. And then once you clean up, you don't have to meet anywhere. You take your trash bag, you put it out front, and then you can drop a pin on that app, and the city will come around and pick up the trash for you. So that is another way you can participate if you can't come out on Saturday. Do it on Wednesday, and that's the day they'll be out driving around picking up trash. Good? Okay. That's pretty much it for me. Do I have any questions? Comments, complaints? Okay, good. Thanks. Have a great day. Trip over the.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Annette, for sharing that. Before I move on quick to Melissa, I do want to make one announcement before Susan yells at me over here, because she's making notes, I see it. Just a reminder, in the Northwest, the Sounds of Jazz and Blues on March 28th from 5 to 9 over at the golf course, right? Yep. Coros Golf Course. Come on out, listen to some jazz, blues, have a cocktail, get a meal. My wife Erin and I will be there. Come say hi. We're not performing. She could, I couldn't, but she's a great singer. I would clear the house, but anyway, I just wanted to send that reminder out.
There's a free concert next Thursday, the 19th at Crystal Lake.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I gave you.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yep.
that's nice.
Oh, I took a picture of that when I was up there working out. I can't see with these on. Yeah, Crystal Lake, free concert in the park Thursday, March 19th, 5 to 8. Music starts at 5:30. Crystal Lake's awesome. Go on up there and take it in. We go up and sit on the beach. It's awesome. I work out up there. I'm out there running around, dying.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, all right, so I want to keep going. I would like to, there she is, bring up Melissa Mickey, the communications manager for the City of Cape Coral. We'll talk a little bit about what she does and how Melissa and I just met at Joe Stone's Park, and we're going to be collaborating on some things and working together. And she'll share a little bit about what she does. Thanks for coming, Melissa.
Hello? Okay, you can still hear me. Sorry. I move a little bit, so I think it's better, and plus this is kind of tall. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. It's so nice to meet you the other day at Joe Stone's. My name is Melissa Mickey, like he had said, and I manage the Office of Communications and Marketing for the City of Cape Coral. I'm going to tell you first just a little bit about myself, a little bit about what my office does, and how you can get the best communication from your city government. And then maybe if you have any questions, I might talk a little fast. I'll try and keep things quick so that the mayor can get up here. I don't want to take in any of his time. Also, I gotta get home to watch the reunion of Love is Blind. So, just saying, trash TV, but like, I'm really into it. So, anyways, in all seriousness, so I have actually lived in Cape Coral for a little over, right around 25 years. And I've lived in Northeast, I've lived in Northwest, right off Embers and Old Burn Store. Now I live in Sandoval. That's like its own world, right? Joe Kilrain can attest to that. But in all seriousness, I love Cape Coral. I love living in the city, and it's very exciting for me now. I've worked for the city for about 5 years, and I love being able to be a part of these really transformational times and the developments that are going on in the city of Cape Coral. I find it very exciting, to be honest with you, and I feel like it's really neat to be a part of it and actually watch it unfold. You know, I was in the Northeast when it was nothing out there, you know, and it was just tons of lots and open land, and I mean, for those of you who've been here a while, you know what I'm talking about. So it's really exciting to see all of that. And so, just to give you a little bit about me, and I'm sorry I got off track. So I graduated from the University of South Florida in mass communications, and my first real job, I would say, out of college, I've always worked, my first real job was here at NBC2. I worked there producing the news for a couple years, really liked that. But then I started a family, and news isn't the best for hours and such. So I ended up actually working for the Department of Children and Families, and I investigated child abuse and neglect for several years. And then once I had children, I actually moved over to adult investigation. So I did that for about 10 years. Then I wanted to get back into my roots, right, in communications. And so a friend of mine who I had worked with at NBC actually reached out and said, hey, we have an opening over here at Fox in management, and we really think you'd be great for it. So I went over to Fox, I worked there for a few years, loved it. They get kind of a bad rap. Now they're owned by Wink. I don't know if you guys know that, but now if you're watching Fox, it's Wink on Fox. And it sounds like they're actually going to be shutting down that facility that is there. I don't know what they'll use it for, but it doesn't, I was hoping it'd be like a remote location for Wink. It's not going to be. And they did lose some of the talent that was there. Some of the Amy Wegman, Chris Shaw, I don't know if you're familiar with those guys that have been there for years and years, but they're not going to be with Wink is what I'm hearing right now. So at any rate, there for a couple of years, then I was recruited by the school district of Lee County, and I worked there as a communications coordinator and managed the public records division as well. And that was back to the public sector, right? So that's kind of where my roots are, because I was with DCF for so long. And now I've been over to the city of Cape Coral. And what's really exciting about starting at the city is they didn't have an Office of Communications when I first started. It was created in 2021. So prior to that, they just had a one-man band that was sending out information, as they could. So when we got in there, one of the first things I had to do was figure out where the gaps in communication are, and there were so many. So it was kind of easy to figure out, okay, we need, and everything needed to be touched, right? The social media did, the website did. We needed people. And one of the first things I realized was so much was going on at the city, so many projects and things like that you're sharing here, and we weren't getting the word out. So one of the very first things I did was go, okay, well, we're only sending out 2 or 3 press releases a month. Immediately created a press release template, and we now average about 250 to 300 press releases each year. So we greatly increased that. So we're getting the message out. Now, if you wanted to see what that information is, what's being pushed out, we do almost every day we're putting out something, right? So you can go to our website, capecoral.gov, which has just come out with a beautiful new refresh in December. On that main page, if you scroll up a little bit or scroll down, whichever way, it's this way. You can see the most recent 3 press releases. You can press more news, and you'll see the press releases that have gone out from the city for the past 2 years. And then we also post all of our press releases to social media. So if you're not already, make sure you're following. On Facebook, it's City of Cape Coral Government. On Instagram, it is City of Cape Coral Gov. And the information that's pushed out there, it's not just our press releases. We're sharing information on infrastructure, on projects, stuff from economic and business development. So many things that you guys are sharing here. Lots of good information. And one of the questions that I frequently get, sometimes people have the misconception that, council tells us what to put out on our social media channels, and that's not the case. Now, there absolutely could be a situation where the mayor or a city council member says, hey, to the city manager, I really think we need to increase our infrastructure posts. And if the city manager agreed, he would share that with me, and it would trickle down to the team, and we'd put it out there. But if the mayor says, hey, I want my face more often on the social media channels, more pictures of me, that's not necessarily going to happen, right? So we don't specifically work for them, but we're getting the word out. We're embedded in the divisions and departments at City Hall, and we work with them to make sure that we're sharing the messages that need to be shared from them. We also scour social media. All of my different people that are working in our small office, And we look to see what are the hot topics right now, what are the things that the community is talking about, how can we correct that information, make sure that they have the accurate information. When we can, we're in the groups, we comment when we can, and we share information on our social media posts to make sure that you're getting the accurate information. And that's the biggest thing, right? I mean, just today I've called 2 different reporters and had to have a discussion with them because they had wrong information put out on social media. And I'm talking about reporters that are respected and known in the community, and that's so frustrating because you know that phrase, you can't get the toothpaste back in the tube, right? Once you put out the incorrect information, you're not necessarily, the people who saw it first aren't necessarily going to get the update, and they may not see that it's been corrected, and so that's really frustrating. You know, I think that it's part of an engaged community and a community that's involved, that communication and the disagreements, right? That's great, that's fine. We don't have to always agree. That's not the issue, but the information needs to be accurate. And so that's kind of where groups like you guys come into play. I know that you're very in tune. You guys have your fingers on the pulse of the city and what's going on here. So appreciated. So if you do see misinformation and you're able to correct it, I'm not asking anyone to get in a fight with anybody because that stinks. You know what I mean? Nobody wants that. But if it's incorrect, it's incorrect. And we all need to make sure that we're, you know, we care about the city that we live in, and we want to make sure that we're just getting the correct information out there and kind of drowning out the misinformation, just if it's wrong. Other ways that you can also, so one thing that I want to mention about social media, if you are following us, sometimes people will say to me as well, they'll say, oh, you know, I do follow you guys on social media, but I don't get all of the posts. That has to do with the algorithm, and I don't want to get into that too deeply, but make sure that you're liking, you're following, you're sharing posts. Just following the city is not going to be enough. You have to actually, you know, get involved with it a little bit to make sure that you're getting all of the information. Also, we want to follow Cape Coral Parks and Recreation because you're going to get information on not just the big events, but the small events, like the movie on the lawn that was just mentioned at Crystal Lake Park. That's on there. We have lots of facilities. We have an arts center. We have the youth center. We have a BMX bike location, and of course the courts and all of these great things. And all of that is on Cape Coral Parks and Recreation. All of the things going on, all the programming and facilities, you can find it there. And then another way that we get out information from the city of Cape Coral is, of course, we have the On the Move magazine. And that used to just be like a newsletter that we sent out to everybody. We revamped that in our office. Everything, the design, the verbiage, the articles, the writing, and the photos, it's all produced in-house. I have a couple people that just happen to also be professional photographers. They're amazing. And so all of that is, you know, blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. So please don't just chuck our beautiful magazine. It goes delivered to every improved residence and business in the city of Cape Coral. I have a few on your way out by the water bottles if you want to grab those. That was the winter edition. We're currently working on the next edition, which is our spring edition, and that's going to be hurricane preparedness focused. It always is, because of course we'll be entering that season soon. And also we have reports from the city manager's annual report. I don't have enough for everybody, but I do have a few if you guys want to review them. They're on the table there. Maybe you can share them with each other as well. But those are the main forms of communication that we have that comes out of the city of Cape Coral. I'll say this, you know, I also get people who come up to me sometimes and they'll say, well, I don't watch the news, I don't go on social media, and I throw out your magazine. Here's the thing. Communication is a two-way street. You absolutely do have to seek it. It's not going to come and find you, right? And information is power. Just you guys coming to this meeting tonight shows me, obviously, that this audience is very interested in knowing what's going on and in the community, and that's wonderful. But if you ever have any questions, feel free to email communications@capecoral.gov, and I think that's pretty much everything I've got. Oh, also the 311 call center. It's part of our office. If you call 311 within the city limits of Cape Coral, you will reach our call center staff. If you need to report a missed trash pickup, somebody mentioned a pothole earlier, you can call 311. You can also email them. You can log on to our website, capecoral.gov. You can communicate in that manner. Or if you download the 311 Cape Coral app, which is available in the Apple Store and Android, that's the other one. But it's available on both phones. You can go in there and you can easily use that to, you know, enter. It could be anything with 311, could be a ticket, could be a pothole, could be a swale issue, what have you. It's all in that app. And then, like Annette was saying earlier, the way that the trash pickup works, we always do it on Earth Day, so it is a Wednesday this year. Sometimes it falls on a weekend. We will push out information on that. If you participate in that day, you download the app, and we have a real easy video that shows you exactly how to, you take a picture, you log the location of the trash, we then create a little trash route and pick up all the trash throughout the city. And if you have anyone who needs volunteer hours, we have someone at City Hall who can sign off on the volunteer hours if they've gone out and picked up trash on that day. And it can be any time of day, and it can be anywhere. We don't have any specific locations that you have to go to. You literally can walk out of your front door and clean up your own yard, and then get some volunteer hours. Any questions?
Thank you, Melissa. We look forward to working with you in the future. Quickly, right before I bring up the mayor, I just want to say one thing, because we are a 501c4. The mayor is here to respond to what you wanted, which is for him to come in and talk to you about what's happening in the Northwest. He's not here as a candidate, even though he is running for re-election. So I need to make that clear, because otherwise I have to have everybody here. And that would be just pandemonium. So I appreciate the mayor coming here, and he, I talk with him a lot about different things, and he had me in his office about a month ago and said, what can I do for the Northwest? What do you guys need? What's going on in the Northwest that we need to work on? And part of that was the survey that I shared with him, what's most important in your mind. And he said, well, let me know when you need me to come up and talk to the members. So here he is tonight to come up and talk to you about what's going on in the Northwest, and for you to ask him questions about what's going on. So, Mayor Gunter, thank you.
If we could put up there what the priorities was for the community. First off, it's an honor being here tonight. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on some of these topics tonight that I know are near and dear and important to you, just like many other residents here in Cape Coral. Let's talk about the first one, the North Spreader Waterway. I remember, I've been through that path with John Bashaw. I've been through there twice, actually. So I know exactly firsthand, what your goal is. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's definitely going to be an uphill battle, and I'll tell you some of the reasons why. First off, that particular property is a state park. So the city of Cape Coral does not have any authority over that particular land. What we can do is, just like you can do, is partner with our state officials to really aggressively pursue trying to get a cut through that area. One thing, the first hurdle that we have to overcome is that particular property has a deed restriction on it, that there's no dredging allowed. So that right there is the first hurdle that we need to try to tackle. The only way to get that removed is through the Board of Administration. And who that is the governor, that is the Attorney General, and the Chief Financial Officer. That's who sits on that board. They will be the ones that would ultimately remove that deed restriction. Now, there'll be a variety of state agencies that'll work through that process before it gets to them. And that's the message that I really want to make sure that I get across tonight is we're going to have to work with our state and federal agencies to get this to even be considered. And when you have your state agencies, it's a state park, so we're going to have to go through them. And then you got FDEP, Florida Department of Environmental Protection. You got Army Corps at the federal level that we're going to have to work with. My recommendation is we are going to have to work extremely, extremely closely with our state representative. He is the one that when he makes phone calls, people return his calls at the state level more so than if I or any staff member here in Cape Coral makes that phone call. Now we can partner with them and I can work with our state representative in order to go through this process. But since there are more state agencies that is involved with this, we are going to have to partner and work extremely closely with them. And that's not only myself, the city council, or even our city manager or staff, that's you. You are gonna have to reach out as an organization. You are gonna have to reach out as a resident of the Northwest to advocate for these projects as well, to try to get them to move forward. So that's the most important thing that I wanted to make sure I get across tonight is the city of Cape Coral, the city council, are very limited what we can do because we don't have the authority since it's not our property. I'm not saying that we won't be a stakeholder and help advocate, for this to move forward. But there's going to be a lot of people involved, and that's why I said it's going to be an uphill battle. I'm not saying it can't be done, but anytime that you're talking about the environment, there's a lot of restrictions and a lot of regulations that we need to cut through in order to make this happen. So I will take questions later on this topic, but that's the main thing I want to try to get across tonight is we're going to have to partner. We're going to have a variety of stakeholders. We're going to have to reach out to whoever our next congressman is going to be. And as far as the Army Corps, State Representative Mike G. Lombardo, I know, I'm sure he'll be reelected. He's got 2 more years in office before he's turned out, so we really need to sit down and partner with him. I think we have to get the right people around the table and roll our sleeves up, try to establish what our goals are and how we can go through that process in order to achieve our goals. And I think it's going to be a step-by-step process in order to do that. I'm up for the challenge, but it's going to take way more than the representatives of Cape Coral to get that project to move forward and see it through to fruition. UEP 3, the biggest thing I think is a big fear for most of our residents is the cost. I can tell you what we've been doing at the city is applying for grants anytime we get the opportunity. We have staff, we have our lobbyists out there that are constantly looking for any programs that we can apply for that could help the residents. I can tell you with North One UEP, we've been extremely fortunate. We've gotten and was awarded 2 grants. One was a $25 million grant that was applied for that we received. And actually, we were the first city to be a recipient of that program that was available. And then we have recently received a $6.5 million grant through the state again here a few months ago. That aspect of the grant was for reclaimed water only, so we'll be able to apply that to the North One project as well. So what does that mean for the average resident? I can tell you the $25 million grant that we received saved each property owner in the North One UEP about $2,500 of that, $30-some thousand that they had to pay to hook up. So even at $25 million, because of the amount of properties that it involves, it was still only a savings. Now, at least that's something, but I just mentioned that because of the magnitude of the types of dollars that you would have to get where you wouldn't have to pay any monies towards the UEP expansion. So we are going to continue. Council has said that we want to aggressively continue to look for grants when it's available. The unfortunate part, when you look at our state legislation, they are actually reducing their budgets. And a lot of these programs that used to be available aren't available today. So again, reach out to your state representatives and just advocate, hey, look, we need to have some type of a grant program to help offset these expenses. As we all know, if you look back at the history of UEPs, it continuously just increases and increases. And we have probably another at least 25 years to move forward before all of Cape Coral is on city water and city sewer. So those expenses are just going to continuously climb. So anything that we can do, we will surely try to do in order to keep those costs down. You know, we bid these projects out, and really depends on where the bids come back and how they, you know, they do the quotation. That's where it determines how much that cost is transferred as far as your part of the program. The transmission lines and things like that, that's covered by the city, but your cost, and that's what we've been applying the grant dollars for, strictly to you. We could apply those grant monies across the board where it would even save the city the little bit of money, but we don't do that. It goes strictly towards your connection fees is where we've applied that money, and that's what we want to continue to do. Move down to Burnt Store Road, the 5.7 miles. I've been working extremely closely with Commissioner Wayne, and I can tell you that not only is this a top priority for the city, but it's a top priority for the County Board of Commissioners. I did write a letter to Congressman Donalds here about 2 weeks ago, advocating for federal dollars, and I know the county is doing the same, so we're trying to partner with the county to advocate at a federal level to get this project moved forward. 10 years to get it done is unacceptable. It's unacceptable at the county level, so we are doing whatever we can to fast track that project. Again, when you look at transportation projects as a whole the last few years, the cost is just astronomical compared to what it used to be. I can tell you, you know, when you look at the city of Cape Coral, just to give you an example, what we used to do in lane miles just a few years ago cost us about $6.5 million. Those same lane miles to resurface those roads today is about $16 million. So that's the same lane miles. So just to give you an example of how the cost of these road transportation projects have escalated over the last 3 or 4 years. It's just astounding. But you know, we are committed to finding the funding. I can tell you that I was up in Tallahassee about 4 weeks ago, met with the Secretary of Transportation. This, again, was another one of my topics, to see if there was any state funding that we could apply. So I know Commissioner Wayne, the county, they're not only trying to find some funding at the federal level, they're seeing if there's any way possible we can get any state funding to get this project moved up and get it completed sooner rather than later. I'm glad to see the Board of County Commissioners have applied a little over, I believe it was $5 million for some enhanced safety measures, you know, widen the roadway that Kevin mentioned earlier, and the rumble strips, just to try to make that segment of road a little safer in the interim until we can really get in there and you know, get the improvements completed the way they need to be. I will tell you that I met with the developers of Hudson Creek about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago as well. And one of the things that, one of the pitches that the developer said is, look, we want to see what the improvements, because they're looking for an entrance to their project up there off of Burnt Store Road. And they said, look, we're willing to do the 3/4 of a mile as far as the improvements that need to take place. If we can do it, as long as we'll be reimbursed at a later time once that funding. So that's another avenue that we're discussing, you know, with Hudson Creek development up there. They're willing to do about 3/4 of a mile of the 5.7 that would affect their project. So we'll see where that goes, but that's on the table as well. You know, we've had some fatalities on that roadway. I know I've been here since 2007, even before any of Burnt Store Road was widened, and you know, that was a scary roadway driving there. We've had a lot of fatalities, so we need to try to get that project completed sooner rather than later. Seven Islands, spoke with the developers. Actually, I was what event was I at? I think I was at Blue Line Bears here last weekend, their fundraising event. And I sat with one of the individuals that's works with the developer, Seven Islands. That particular project, really no change in the last couple months. You know, of course, the city has sold the property, so that has went to settlement. So we did sell the property to the developer for $20 million. That particular, not all that money goes back to the city, because that 318 acres that was mentioned earlier, and some other properties, D&D and some other ones here in the city years ago when we purchased that property in the downturn, we used some funding that has to be paid back. So a part of that $20 million has to go back to, I know, water and sewer utilities funds, so we have to pay some of those monies back. But to get back on Seven Islands, they are still waiting on their Army Corps permits. They're hoping to have those by the end of the year. That's the first portion, or the first thing that needs to be done in the development is, you know, any of the seawalls, you know, any of the waterway improvements, that has to be completed first. So they're waiting for the Army Corps permit to be issued. In the interim, they're still moving forward with the civil engineers, the architectural and structural drawings, so they are still working on that. They can start applying when they're ready. Island 7 is going to be the first project. The community center and any of the community projects, that'll be the first island that will be developed. So they are working through that process as far as the engineering and architectural drawings, so they can apply for their permits. They can do that while they're waiting on the Army Corps permits. So that's what they're focused on right now. They're hoping to be able to, by the end of the year, to start applying for their permits for the upland construction that needs to take place. There are some incentive packages in that project. There's basically 3 incentive packages: a 6-year, 8-year, and 10-year. The 6-year incentive is to get the community center open first. There's an incentive package for that. So if they get that open in the first 6 years, then they're eligible for some, you know, incentive monies. And then 8 years, there's another incentive, and then 10 years is for the hotel. The hotel is 10 years, the marina is 8 years, and the community center is 6 years. Now, there's some other ancillary developments that go along with those 3 projects, but that's how the incentive package works. I think that's going to be a phenomenal development. I'm sure that all of you in this room probably have seen the renderings over the years. I think the developer did it right. I think if you look at a developer coming into the city of Cape Coral and wanting to develop in our city, they are definitely have been a role model, in my opinion, how to engage in the community, how to engage with the residents, the community association like yourselves, and make you a part of the process. And I think that's why this project will be so successful, is because the way that they went through the process and getting the community engagement along the way. So many times I've given them accolades for that. I think if other developers could learn that in our city, it would make the process so much easier when it comes to smart growth here in our city. Beautification, safety lights and walkways. You know, beautification, I think, you know, when you look at the UEP, what we've done, we've added the roundabouts, the medians in the middle of the roadways. I think the Northwest, once we start those projects, I think everybody is going to want to look like how you're going to look up in the Northwest. So you guys are going to be extremely fortunate, because it was a whole different philosophy that City Council had to approve to make that happen. So I think, you know, we've learned in the past, beautification has always been one of my top priorities. Unfortunately, you know, we've had minimum funding that we've applied throughout the city for beautification, but I'm a firm believer if you invest and how our city looks. There's gonna be a return on investment, our property values will increase. I mean, just, I can tell you as a builder, that's what I do for a living. I build a lot of my homes down near Cape Harbor and Tarpon Point, and the reason I do that, because it looks so great. And I can get more for that same house just because of the area it's in. Now, granted, the properties cost me more down there, but if you look at Chiquita, you look at Rose Garden, and some of those, you know, like you have up here at Embers. And that was one of the things that I advocated on Embers Parkway several years ago when I was on CTAC. I want to make sure that we were spreading the wealth when it comes to beautification. So beautification is one of my priorities. I will tell you, this council, in relation to the last council, I don't feel that they put that as high on their bar as the previous council. I know I worked with Dan Shepherd before he was a council member on beautification, and then when he was elected, that was one of his priorities. So one thing that I could recommend to you, if beautification and safety, streetlights, walkways, those sorts of things is a priority, you have to engage with city council. Because as you well know, it takes 5 votes, a majority of votes, to get anything to happen. I could want all those things all day long, but if I can't talk for my colleagues into it, it doesn't really matter. And that's with anything, unfortunately, not just beautification. So that's where you could do your part to make sure that you send those emails, you call the council members that are on the board. You work with the candidates, since this is election year, see what their priorities are. That's where you can do your part and help some of these things that are on the list. Because I can tell you that the current council, not all of them, you know, that's not a priority for them. Burst, you know, Burst, we learned a lot and made a lot of mistakes on Pine Island Road. And after Pine Island Road was about, I'd say about halfway developed or halfway through the process there, it's not fully developed now. We learned that we were making some mistakes. So then we did the Pine Island Road Overlay District, and we put some restrictions in place. You know, we didn't want the, storage facilities right on Pine Island Road, and that's what you were looking at. So, and there were some other, you know, things that we learned along the way. So what we learned was, hey, when it comes to Burnt Store Road, we want to make sure we get it right from the beginning. And that's why we started working on a Burnt Store Road Overlay District. Unfortunately, we had Senate Bill 250 that was introduced that put some restrictions on what we could do. And it really hampered our efforts when it come to burst. And those restrictions involving Senate Bill 250 were in place until October 1st of this year. And then come along the next legislative session, and this all came from Tallahassee, that were bills that were passed. In the next legislative session, then we had Senate Bill 180 that was passed, that tweaked 250. Senate Bill 180 was like Senate Bill 250 on steroids. And it really compounded and made it even more difficult. So the restrictions that are currently in place now, and one of the things that even made it more restrictive, Senate Bill 180, is we can't even discuss a Burnt Store Road Overlay District. The city council staff, we can't even have that discussion. With Senate Bill 250, we could have continued having those discussions, but 180, it flat out forbid us to even have those discussions, to discuss it, to come up with a proposal, you know, to even say, hey, when the deadline comes, then we're ready. We can't even do that, unfortunately. Now, I will tell you, there are some legal challenges to Senate Bill 180 that is going through the process that some cities have filed a lawsuit against the state. We haven't went through that judicial process yet, one of the arguments, and we agree with that argument, is Senate Bill 250 N180, the spirit, and I even had a discussion with Senator Pasadena on this, because she was the driving force of Senate Bill 250, was the spirit of that bill really didn't apply to vacant parcels. It was mainly for improved parcels. But unfortunately, the way the bill was written, even if that wasn't the spirit of the bill, it hampered even the unimproved parcels. And that's one of the legal challenges in Senate Bill 180 that some of the other cities are trying to make, that, hey, we get it when it comes to maybe having those restrictions on improved properties, but a vacant parcel just sitting there, why should you have those restrictions? Now, if that judicial process doesn't work out in our favor, Senate Bill 180 is in effect until October of 2027. So that means that we as a city can't even discuss burst or make any alterations or even have a discussion on it until after that. So hopefully that judicial process will be in our favor. We'll just have to wait and see. But we definitely have our hands tied. We know how important that overlay district, and I know when we were going through the process, we reached out to the Northwest Neighborhood Association, a lot of the stakeholders in the community, you as residents, trying to get buy-in of exactly what you wanted to see. I think we were hearing what your concerns were, and we were trying to go through that process to make sure we get it right before the development even started. Development on Burnt Store Road probably commercially won't happen until we get water and sewer, and that's why the developers at Hudson Creeks are, they're putting in water and sewer right now for their project that's coming down Tropicana. It's going to be going up Burnt Store up to where their entrance is. So once we start getting water and sewer on Burnt Store Road, that's when you're going to see the commercial development really explode like it did on Pine Island Road. So we got to make sure that we got this down before that happens. So we got our hands tied now, but we're just waiting and seeing if there's a challenge to Senate Bill 180, and hopefully that'll be in our favor. Some other projects I just
Do you want
mentioned.
to take some questions?
Yeah.
Because we're gonna run short.
Okay, let's open up for questions. Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, thanks for being here. Second, what is the status of the resort there by the Burnt Store Ranch?
Shad Row.
Yeah, that Lake Shack.
Lake Shad Row. Lake Shad
Yeah,
Row.
I checked on that yesterday, actually. I knew that was gonna be a question. The permits are still active. What the city has been told is the developer has ceased the construction for the time being. Not sure exactly the reasoning, but the permits are still active. And the city is monitoring exactly what's going on there. As far as building permits are concerned, there are statutory requirements on, when a permit inspection is called in, and if you don't have an inspection in a certain length of time, then that permit could expire. They could ask for an extension, with a valid reason. But I can tell you that the project is on hold now. I heard there was, they had some issues with financing. I heard that through the grapevine. Don't know if there's any truth to that, but I heard that they were trying to restructure their financing, and that's why the project is kind of in a wait-and-see pattern. Yes, sir, in the back.
Yeah, I live on Yucatan Parkway. This is where my neighbor friends are here too. And you guys talk about beautification. We've seen the plans for Yucatan Parkway. They're basically going to uglify it. They're going to rip out the center console, all of the tree line, trees down there, and they're going to slap it together with a double yellow line. So how does that fit into the beautification plan?
Well, if we're gonna beautify the medians, it won't, because it'll be asphalt, just like you
They're going
said.
to turn the median out.
Yeah, instead of being a divided roadway, it's gonna be a combined roadway in each direction. That's what's on as a proposal right now. Again, Maybe that's something that you get together and advocate with your council members. Again, we have limited dollars for beautification, but maybe that is a alternative that you could suggest that, hey, look, you're really going to be, making that area actually look worse instead of better. So what type of, but what type of,
I don't want to repeat that, Vince, repeat that every single.
but what we could do possibly is some beautification on the sides of each side of the roadway. So that could be a possibility that we could discuss as a council when it comes to beautification projects. And again, it takes 5 votes. So that's something that get together either as a Northwest Neighborhood Association or your neighbors down there and advocate for that. It doesn't hurt to ask. I agree with you. If you kept the roadway, and I think it was because of the traffic study that they felt that it didn't need to be a divided median in between both. But if you beautify that median, it does look much better than just being all asphalt. But there's a right of way on each side of the roadway, so maybe that's something that we look at to see if we can't do something when it comes to beautification. It's sort of the how to.
Are there any plans for a hospital up this way?
Boy, it's funny you asked that. I can tell you that I have been aggressively in talks with a particular healthcare provider that over probably the last 4 months, I've met with the with their CEO and parts of their board. Have met with them in Fort Myers on this very topic, and I can tell you we're about this close, but we're not there yet. I'm very hopeful that we will have an announcement soon. I can't give you any details right now, but I can tell you our Economic Development Department, myself, the city manager, myself and the city manager both have met with their staff and their CEO at least twice. So we are in some discussions to try to bring that home. And one of the things that I mentioned when I met with them, we have 225,000 residents right now. If you look at the data right now, based on that population, we should have between 450 and 650 hospital beds in Cape Coral. We got 302. So even today, and you don't build a hospital overnight, we are well below where we need to be. So that's one of the reasons, public safety is a big priority for me, and I'm not going to get into it, but we've done a lot when it comes to the fire department, the police department, and I think we have a stellar fire department and a stellar police department now. But the other part of that equation, we got more ambulances. I work with the county. We used to have 5 ambulances in the county about 3 or 4 years ago. We have 11 today. We have rescue units that we didn't have, over 10 rescue units that we have paramedics on. But the other part of that equation is having another hospital, so we don't have to go to Fort Myers. So that's the big picture and that last piece of the puzzle that I've been personally working on along with staff. Any other questions? Young lady here in the blue?
Is it true that you're leasing waterfront property on Tropicana Park, which is a public park that was paid for by our tax dollars, to a kayak organization, whether they're non-profit or not? To me, it doesn't matter, because I don't see the value to the public, like just Joe Snow, because you have to pay to get the kayaks out here. It's actually an organization that's going to take up part of our public park.
Yeah, 11,300 feet is what they want of area, square feet of area. And we just recently had a discussion with City Council. It's a rowing club that used to be down in Cape Harbor area. And then when Cape Harbor started that development, it's actually in a Paul's now as well. They moved up to where Seven Islands is, and they've been there for, I don't know, maybe about 2 years now. And the vision was for them to be at Tropicana Park. Well, I went down and took pictures when they were at Cape Harbor, when I was a council member for District 1. I've been to their facility here. Unfortunately, in my opinion, it's unsightly. And I have never supported them moving to Tropicana. Now, with that being said, one of the things that I at least advocated for, because I'm only one vote of 8, one thing that I advocated in our last meeting was, hey, at least put a concrete wall up surrounding the perimeter of that 11,300 feet, so we don't have to look at that mess.
Right.
And luckily, City Council agreed collectively, and but that still has to come back to City Council for approval. I can tell you I'll be a no vote, but I agree with you. We use tax dollars. You know, we spent millions of dollars in that park. And unfortunately, in my opinion, it's a nonprofit organization, and I try to be fair and consistent. How can I let one go into that park and allow it? Because what they're gonna do is all the other nonprofits, hey, I wanna go to JC Park, or I wanna go to Four Freedoms Park, or I wanna go here, or I wanna go there. If you do it for one, you gotta do it for all. To me, we're going down a slippery slope that we shouldn't be entertaining. We've used tax dollars to build it, we use tax dollars to beautify it. And I don't mind, you know, trying to help out nonprofits when we can. But for me, I don't think we should use tax dollars in order to do that.
Time for one more.
Yes, sir. Excuse me. The scope of these UEP projects is to bring sewer and water and irrigation to areas that don't have it. Also, when that project happens, it also, the roadway gets rebuilt, just in a lot of cases, it's my understanding, the sewer line comes down the middle of the existing roadway. Many of these roadways that they're coming down never really had a proper base in them from day one. And so, yes, good deal, let's take and build it up properly, maybe the top will hold up better. And the drainage will be done. Is the roadway work and the building of the base on up through and the drainage paid by each individual, or does that portion of the project come out of the general fund?
Yeah, a lot of the, when I remember earlier I mentioned like transmission lines and things like that. When it comes to figuring out what the homeowner is responsible for, there's a formula that they look at to see exactly what your actual cost is. So, you know, the city pays for a bulk of like the transmission lines and the main portion of it, where some of the other lines that are going through the neighborhoods and things like that, that's some of the things. It's an equation that they look at to come up with that amount of money. If you look at our UEPs back in the Southwest, you know, they were like $10,000 back then. You know, today, you know, they're about 33. I'm hoping, only because I'm in the building industry, and I can tell you 3 years ago what it was costing me to build a house, building that same house, because I'm doing it right now. I'm building that same house today, and it's actually cheaper than it was 3 years ago, because the cost of goods, the cost of labor, pipe, framing, I mean, my framing package 3 years ago was double. So what I'm hoping to see, I'm hoping that the next UEP3, we might even see a reduction because the cost of goods is down compared to where it was 3 years ago. But we'll have to wait and see on that. Just one last thing, I want to, two things. I'm going to stick around. I know you guys are on a timeline. I'll stick around, so if anybody has any questions, I'll be more than happy to talk to you. One last thing I did want to mention, you hear a lot about the Mid-Hawthorne Aquifer and the water shortage with the wells. And I wanted to bring, we just had a meeting last week on this, because we are bringing North 1 online, and we are getting the wells basically turned off. They're going over the city water over the last 18 months ago or so. We've seen a substantial, because we monitor it, actually, South Florida Water Management does. They monitor the levels of the aquifer. And we're about 13 and a half feet higher than we have been for the last several years, since 2023. We're above what the minimum requirement is. If it stays that way for 60 days, then South Florida Water Management will rescind the restrictions that are in place. And when we get the next section of North 1 UEP online, it's only going to improve more. So we're heading in the right direction. You know, we had to make those hard decisions, or at least South Florida Water Management made those decisions for us. But we are seeing a great improvement. So I just wanted to mention that. Again, I'm going to stick around. Thank you for the opportunity, and I'll go around for the questions.
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to thank Councilmember Joe Kilrain, who's in the back, for coming out tonight. Alicia, she might have left to go watch her TV show. But I also want to mention the District 6 candidates that are here tonight. Ray Muley, Lisa King, Annette Warren, they're all here tonight. And I want to thank you all. I think the mayor touched on it. I talk with the mayor, I talk with everybody. I'm sending letters out on your behalf to make the Northwest the greatest place to live in Cape Coral. I'm biased. But, and to the rowing club, I got into this whole thing about the rowing club, I'll be honest with you, that's in 2019, so I know the whole backstory on it, and I won't get into it for here. But thank you very much for coming out. Reach out, let us know, what you want to hear from us. I want to thank all the board members here. This is all volunteer time, and this is a passion for us. And they do a hell of a lot of hard work to uncover what's going on in one of the fastest growing cities in the state of Florida, and one of the fastest growing areas in the fastest growing cities of Cape Coral. So thank you all to the board members. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it.